A ghost is chasing you, people are taping their doors red, and your friends are missing. Now you're out of options. You just want to use the internet and take care of your plants. Well, let's see if Michi and Kawashima can stop the strange occurrences and find their missing friends in this condensed version of Pulse. The film begins with Michi paying a visit to her friend Taguchi, who hasn't been in touch for a week. Despite her calls going unanswered, she gains entry to the house with a spare key, only to discover him in his room. Concerned, she inquires about his well-being and the progress on the disc he's been working on, to which he vaguely responds that, oh, it's completed somewhere over there around the house. Sensing something's wrong, Michi presses further, asking if everything's alright since no one's heard anything from him lately. Taguchi reassures her, urging her to check out the disc. However, when Michi seeks clarification about which disc he's referring to, she receives no reply. Approaching Taguchi again, she finds that he eliminated himself. The following day, Michi's friend urges her to look at the contents of Taguchi's disc. Inside the disc, they find footage of Taguchi staring at his computer, which eerily mirrors the same scene on his monitor. Upon closer inspection, they notice an unfamiliar face or reflection on his second monitor, which upon zooming in turns out to be Taguchi's own face? Or is it? Baffled, they step outside, reflecting on the strangeness of the situation, as it doesn't sit well with any of them. As the night progresses, Michi prepares her drink when the TV begins to glitch. Hastening to switch it off, she then startles as a bottle behind her suddenly topples. Is this a series of odd occurrences, or is it simply just her clumsiness? Subsequently, Kawashima, a student in school, attempts to navigate the intricacies of connecting to the internet. Upon success, he is greeted with a screen displaying what appears to be unfamiliar individuals in their own rooms. Then, to his surprise, the computer prompts him with an unsettling question: would you like to meet a ghost? Feeling unnerved, he promptly shuts down the computer and dismisses it as nonsense before deciding to take a nap. However, while he slumbers, the computer mysteriously powers on by itself as it reestablishes an internet connection. Now, even more disturbed, Kawashima witnesses a man in a red shirt seated in a dimly lit room, prompting him to hastily power off the computer once again. The following day, Kawashima attends a computer science class and approaches a stranger with a query about his computer randomly connecting to the internet. The stranger suggests that it's probably just a hacker. Kawashima further asks if it's normal for a computer to inquire about encountering ghosts, but the stranger remains silent, prompting Kawashima to drop the subject and go somewhere else. However, overhearing their conversation, Haru intervenes, inquiring about the website that mentioned ghosts. Kawashima, admitting his lack of computer knowledge, receives instructions from Haru to bookmark the site if it reappears or try using the print key to capture it, and Kawashima jots down the instructions before leaving. Elsewhere, Yabe receives a peculiar phone call from someone seeking help, their voice distorted with repeatedly saying help, help. Upon checking his phone, he discovers the caller to be Taguchi in his room. Could it be that Taguchi's spirit is reaching out to Yabe? Driven by curiosity, Yabe decides to visit Taguchi's apartment in search for clues regarding the mysterious occurrences. Inside, he discovers a note with the words "the forbidden room" written on it, which leaves him confused. Upon switching on the light, he notices a dark mark on the wall, but finds nothing else of significance. Shrugging off his confusion, he switches it off and then exits the room. But all of a sudden, he comes right back, turns the light on, only to find Taguchi standing on a spot where the dark mark was. Puzzled, Yabe questions Taguchi what is happening. Upon reaching closer, he realized that there's no one actually there. Still puzzled by the strange event, Yabe enters a door marked with red tape. This might be the forbidden room he's talking about. His curiosity getting the better of him. Inside, he explores the empty room, but his sense of unease grows when he suddenly observes a peculiar figure moving towards him, as if it's walking on the moon's surface. Scared out of his mind, he leaps over a drawer, only to find a mysterious entity slowly peering over it. A few days later, Michi observes a woman exiting her apartment and then sealing the door with red tape, reminiscent of the room Yabe had entered previously. Without saying a word, Michi can't help but wonder what's going on with that woman. Later that evening, Kawashima is unwinding in his room when his computer unexpectedly powers on and connects to the internet. Once again, he sees the man in a red shirt seated in a dimly lit room. Acting quickly, Kawashima attempts to bookmark the page, but to no avail. Pressing the print key, also nothing. As the man on the screen vanishes, a strange shadow shadow then materializes, sending a shiver down Kawashima's spine, and now he's overwhelmed with fear. He hastily unplugs the computer. The next day, Kawashima heads back to the school to find Haru. He informs her that he had pressed the print key, but before he can finish, she interjects, offering, "Hey, you know what, I'm gonna come over and help you out later." At Kawashima's residence, Haru gathers some data from his computer, intending to analyze it at a later time. Back at Yabe's residence, Michi pays him a visit, concerned about his well-being. Sensing something's amiss, she inquires about what's troubling him. Yabe confides in her, revealing that he encountered a terrifying visage in the forbidden room, one unlike anything he's ever seen before. Michi inquires, was it the room with red tape around it? Yabe warns, never go in there, shivering as he expresses that he feels really cold. Meanwhile, Kawashima finds himself immersed in reading about spirits at the library, unaware of a shadowy figure observing him. Yoshizaki approaches and remarks, "You see him too?" suggesting he might be able to catch him if he's fast enough. Determined, Kawashima sprints towards the figure, only for it to vanish as he draws near. Bewildered, he questions Yoshizaki about the identity of the figure, but Yoshizaki just says, "Probably just another student at the school." In the break room, Kawashima confides in Yoshizaki about feeling cold. Yoshizaki offers a theory, explaining that the spirits inhabit a realm with limited space, which could lead to overflow. And when this happens, they're gonna seek entry into our world, potentially through the internet, as Kawashima witnessed earlier. Frightened by the concept, Kawashima dismisses Yoshizaki's explanation and storms out. Undeterred, Yoshizaki continues, stating that despite the small size of the device, once the system is fully operational, it will function independently and establish a permanent presence. He warns that with the circuit open, more spirits will likely come. Later that evening, Michi makes several phone calls to different people, trying to locate their missing boss. Junko expresses concern over the sudden disappearances, and lost in thought, resolves to find their boss herself. While Michi is on a call, she hears a distorted voice similar to Yabe's, pleading for help. Startled, she rushes into the room to find Yabe still present. However, upon closer inspection, she discovers only a dark stain in the wall where he used to be. Faintly, Yabe's voice can still be heard, calling for help. In a hurry, Michi searches for Junko and finds her taping a door with red tape. Inside, they encounter a shadowy figure emerging from the darkness. Michi attempts to pull Junko out, but she resists and pushes Michi away. The shadow figure nearly surrounds Junko, but Michi manages to pull her out to safety just in time. Together, they sprint away from danger. The next day, Kawashima tries calling Haru but gets no response. Concerned, he hurries to the school. Upon arrival, he finds his classroom deserted, but there's a monitor displaying a repeating clip of a person walking, but with the footage glitching intermittently. Having no success at the school, Kawashima heads to Haru's apartment to check on her. He notices her ascending the stairs, looking dejected and wet. Concerned, he asks why she's soaked, trying to lighten the mood. She responds hopelessly, mentioning that everyone always disappears, and she feels the need to flee somewhere. After calming her down, they sit down for a conversation in her apartment. Reflecting on her emotions, she ponders what it's like to be a ghost. Kawashima, baffled, questions the relevance of ghosts to their situation, emphasizing that they're still alive and that's all that matters. However, she turns on the monitors and points out images of people displayed there, prompting Kawashima to wonder about their identities. Are they truly alive? Haru questions. Kawashima shares his skepticism about ghosts, admitting that even if he were to encounter one, he wouldn't believe in them. The only certainty he holds is their shared existence, and he's reluctant to dwell on the inevitability of their eventual past. Haru proposes a theory. Perhaps ghosts don't want to kill these people, as that will only create more ghosts. Instead, they might trap them in eternal loneliness, effectively granting them a form of a twisted immortality. Back at Michi's place, Junko questions whether she will die like this or continue living alone. Michi reassures her, saying, "Of course not." As Michi turns around, she's startled to find a black stain on the wall. Suddenly, Junko transforms into a dust and is blown out the door. The following morning at Haru's apartment, she is busy printing out materials on her computer. As she works, an unsettling distorted figure appears to be watching her from her bedroom. Startled, Haru glances back at the bedroom door, but finds it empty. Suddenly, the image on her computer screen switches to a real-time reflection of herself. Alarmed, she heads back to the bedroom to switch on the lights, and at that moment the computer screen starts glitching. Realizing she's not alone, Haru reaches onto something. Arriving at Haru's apartment, Kawashima proposes the idea of living together to keep each other company, but receives no response. Concerned, he breaks into her room and searches inside, only to find it empty. He sets out to search for Haru but encounters Michi stranded in a broken down car instead. After assisting her in fixing the vehicle, Michi offers to help find Haru. Together, they return to Haru's apartment to search for clues regarding her whereabouts. exits. Finding nothing there, Michi notices an abandoned factory nearby and decides to investigate it. Inside, Michi tells him if he sees a door with red tape around it, don't go inside. Luckily, inside this gigantic factory, they turn around at the right time to see Haru standing on the second level. Rushing towards her, they find some red tape on the ground and that she's wearing a black bag over her head while holding a gun. Kawashima tells her, let's get out of here, let's get out this place together. She grabs the gun and then eliminates herself. After failing to save his friend, Kawashima notices the car is out of gas and returns to the factory to retrieve some. As he attempts to close the gas canister, the cat mysteriously rolls into a nearby room. He enters the room to retrieve it, but the door slams shut behind him, trapping him inside. A shadowy figure materializes, proclaiming that death is eternal loneliness. Kawashima desperately tries to escape, refusing to accept defeat. Kawashima defiantly declares that he rejects the concept of death and turns towards to confront the spirit. With determination, he asserts, "You cannot defeat me," and charges towards the spirit. However, the spirit warns him that this is not an illusion. Concerned for Kawashima's safety, Michi hurries back to the abandoned factory to locate him. After finding him, with the gas in hand, they drive away together through the empty city. Overwhelmed with emotion, Michi breaks down in tears and stops the car. She questions Kawashima about why he went into the room with red tape, to which he reassures her that hey, he's fine now, don't worry about it. In an attempt to escape the city, they board a boat to flee. The film concludes with Kawashima having been eliminated and Michi aboard a ship headed towards South America in his search for safety from the ongoing events.